us today, and then I will get into the rest of the news I haven't hit yet towards the end of this hour. I never even aired the This Week on ABC yesterday where they claimed I wouldn't show up to debate them live when they said that they weren't going to do the interview, basically, and then came to pick me up 12 minutes before it was airtime so they could claim I was a coward. Just all sorts of weaselly behavior out of government-run media. But Dr. Steve Pieczenik, of course, ran the famous Camp David Accords as the psychological expert there. He wrote the manual on psychological warfare for the State Department, helped found the Delta Force with General Boykin and others, and, of course, been a member of the Council on Foreign Relations, co-wrote a bunch of books with Tom Clancy, produced Hollywood films. And he was the guy who came on in early 2002 to say the bin Laden death was a hoax, and that he'd already, basically died, that he wasn't alive, and they'd roll him out later. Then Walter Cronkite came out and said it. Madeleine Albright, Secretary of State, said it. And then they rolled him out, and it was all fake. Well, now Cy Hirsch came out 2 years ago and said it's 100% lie. I have an article coming out. Well, they came after him. He shut up for a while. He talked some to our office. Now he's saying, well, it's just fake that they didn't have a firefight. Only one guy was killed. Well, that's what we were told. A double of bin Laden. And then it was a military safe house. That's why it was a half mile from the main military headquarters of the whole country. The Navy SEALs started figuring that out, so they blew up their helicopter a few months later on a shut-up mission. I've since then talked to family members of the Navy SEALs, and I've talked to some of the Navy SEALs. The videos are up on Infowars.com. Within a day of the hoax, I said it was a hoax. And then within a few months of the event, we pointed out that they basically had killed the Navy SEALs. And joining us is Dr. Pieczenik. We got 3 minutes to break. We'll come back with 10 minutes after that, sir. Appreciate your time. But what do you make of Cy Hirsch now and all this coming out at this point with the bin Laden hoax?
Well, I've known about Cy Hirsch. We come from the opposite sides of the ideological spectrum, but he's very well versed in intelligence, and he is very accurate. There was no raid. There basically was no stand. The stand-down was, as we said, at Cheney, Bush, Rumsfeld, and basically this was a CIA operation. It was run by the CIA and implemented by the CIA, started by Tenet, John Brennan, and what we have is a real problem of credibility in our military, in our political leadership, and in our intelligence leadership. And what this brings out is like the My Lai massacre, the cover-up is major. It goes from Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, it goes to Bush Jr., Cheney, Rumsfeld, and Obama. And basically it puts into place Admiral McRaven, who was in charge of the Special Forces, or the SEAL team, who claimed all this nonsense about how well they performed, and then puts into play Admiral Mullen, who was also a liar. I've said it from day one they were liars. I said they were ineffectual. I said the SEAL teams were blown out of proportion. It was a publicity stunt. And now more than ever, Cy Hirsch has made it very clear. Now, I and Cy Hirsch have not agreed, and I've had a confrontation with him in an intelligence meeting. So for him to come out on our side to basically say the government's lying again and again, this is the key point for your listeners to understand. We have a government that is not legitimate. Obama has lied repeatedly. From the beginning till now, he has lied. Our military has lied. Our intelligence has lied. So we have candidates who are coming in like Hillary Clinton, who also lied. She was part of this. She was a senator.
Well, Doctor, stay there. I'm going to come back to Dr. Steve Pieczenik after this quick break to break down what does it signify, though, that CNN's top headline would be this and that Cy Hirsch is coming out with the truth now, or a limited hangout. What does that say is happening inside the power structure? Stay with us. We're live. And I said, well, I'm not doing it taped. They didn't respond back and sent a card 12 minutes to airtime. Just the stunts they play now to try to win points. And everybody knows I go on live shows. I'm going to tear these people apart. I want to ask Dr. Pieczenik his take on Jade Helm and all the drills the government's got them doing for civil disturbance and where he thinks it's all going, what they're gearing up for. Dr. Pieczenik's talked about the states being the answer to getting control of the federal government. Well, yeah, and they're preparing and training the military to try to take on the states. People say, well, that'll never happen. Well, with the criminals we've got running things, it certainly might. And they're really worried about Texas. So we'll get Dr. Pieczenik's take on that briefly here in a moment as well. But if you go to Infowars.com, you'll see flashback, proof bin Laden death, another government lie, InfoWars report 4 years before Hirsch revelations. And then we break down the day after it happened in an 8-minute video that it's a hoax. That was May 2nd, 2011. And then proof bin Laden death, another government lie. We've got interviews with Pieczenik in there. We've got interviews with the family of some of the dead SEALs, multiple families. And we've got more current breakdowns of this. But I want to explain something to people. We've broken hundreds of secret documents here and hundreds of others that are restricted. And it's very dangerous to do that in this climate. You know, if we meet with a Navy SEAL, and I talk about it on air, you better believe we did. Or if we meet with a family of a Navy SEAL who died, that's what I did a couple days after the helicopter blew up and they got rid of them, a few months after the fake killing. And the families, and what the SEALs believe, is that it was a body double they were there to take out. There wasn't a big firefight outside. The other helicopter just blew up. It was a half mile or less from the main military base of the whole country, their headquarters and their main academy. And so we never knew exactly what happened, but people on the ship said there was no burial at sea, so they court-martialed over 100 people. And it's just been one big cover-up. They lied about the Situation Room photo. Dr. Pieczenik, you've got a lot of amazing sources. I know you've been visited by the CIA and MI6 and threatened. I've been threatened. And then they had the Stratford leak that they were tasked with trying to, you know, make us look bad. I mean, I didn't ask to be at the level of this whole game. All I want's my country back. But now I'm being attacked by up to 300 to 500 newspapers a day saying lies. I mean, on a Richter scale, previous attacks were a 2 or 3. This is a 10. What is going on? Why do you think they're targeting us? Is it getting ready to destroy me or building me up to be politically discredited with straw men? And then I want to go back into bin Laden. But I want to be a little selfish today and ask you, from your perspective and your sources, what is going on? Because they're running around like chickens with their heads cut off about this show. And quite frankly, I don't like being that prominent. I mean, this is a multi-magnitudes more effect. But I think I know my own answer, and I want your take on this. Congress is listening. The military is listening. Not that I'm special, but I have all these amazing guests on, people like you. And this show is a lot closer to reality than almost anything else out there. So this has become like the forbidden fruit channel or something, where it's just gotten really hot, and it shows the insanity of the official narrative. And so they're trying to discredit me right now with Pentagon-directed bull and CIA-directed bull. Where is this going?
Well, Alex, number one, let me assure you that nobody wants to take you out. The reason for that is very simple. They do not want to make you a martyr. That does not serve anybody's purpose. Number two, the reason you're exceedingly important, even to the intelligence community, to me, is remember, you were the only man who stood up 13 years ago when we had the 9/11 and said, and allowed me to say this was a false flag and a stand down.
It was 14, Steve, 14.
14 years ago. So you have to remember, a prophet in his own country is never appreciated. You will never be appreciated in this country because you tell the truth. And no one in the Republic who runs the Republic can tolerate it. However, you have amassed a huge audience in the millions, which to many in the senior leadership is very threatening. And the reason is very simple. In the beginning, they could co-opt you as crazy or me as crazy and call us a very simple term, conspiracy. However, fortunately, your audience and the American audience is too smart, far too smart, to buy any of the narratives that were sold by Clinton, the Bushes, or by the CIA or the military. And eventually what happened in the age of the Internet, you were able to take that narrative without deviating an ounce, without backing off, but having sponsors and having someone like me say, keep going, Alex, you're brave, don't worry about it. They will not attack you. I've
been attacked with propaganda and other things by different camps. I know it's not one monolithic system. It's just to be 41 years old and to have no exaggeration, one day last week, 500 news articles and lying about me What nerve have we hit? Is it they think we're weak, so they're going in? Or they think we're strong? Because, I mean, I can handle a lot of pressure, Doc, but this is starting to get like the Twilight Zone.
Well, the point is that is a sense of recognition and admiration. Remember, you're being lauded by the fact that they feel you're a threat to them by continuously cutting into their vulnerable point. It's a badge of honor, and the audience understands that people all over the world listen to you, and this republic can no longer stand the way it is. It's falling apart.
Well, I just want the establishment to understand this, and I say this selfishly for myself and my own family. People get this stuff now. I'm not the only one talking about this. There's thousands of other prominent people that get the paradigm now. So doing something to me is not going to do anything. All I'm, except turn me into a martyr. But the thing is, I don't hate the government. I don't even hate these special interests. These people are almost blind, Dr. Pieczenik, in my view, in that they don't look at what their actions are going to do 10, 15 steps down the road. They're destroying the empire itself. They're destroying the country. They are going after the press. They're going after our industry. They're just doing crazy stuff, and I just don't see it. I don't see this elite being able to continue on. That's all I'm saying. And all I want is prosperity and stability, Doctor.
Let me pull back a little bit and explain something to you. We are not a monolithic entity. I've said that before. But your ability to penetrate through and hit at the nerve spot allows different elements of the government, I won't identify which intelligence communities or which elements, to allow them to push back. I'll give you an example. Why was this story by Seymour Hersh released now, more than ever? Nobody's asking that question except you. And the answer is, my suspicion is, it's only my suspicion, I'm not going to conspiracy, is that it's elements within our own government who have very close relationships with Seymour Hersh and know him exceedingly well because Seymour has been in meetings with me, with the intelligence community, and he knows he gets information from it. And I won't identify which units. It's a way of paying back Obama, Jeb Bush, and Hillary Clinton to get them out of the race. It's the way the industry, the intelligence system, and the military system works indirectly in order to punish those political leaders and dynasties which think that they can run the republic, namely the Clintons, who were involved in 9/11, let me finish, and the Bushes, Neil, Marvin, Jeb, and the old man, including Bush Jr., because they have destroyed the republic. Now it's time for the military and intelligence units that are loyal to the republic to punish this administration for what they did in Benghazi, for having demoted Petraeus, for having demoted 12 of our Navy Navy men, for having demoted AFRICOM generals, and this is their way to tell Obama you're no longer in charge. And by the way, Hillary, you will not get elected, nor will you, Jeb Bush. And that's my point of view, which I think is well grounded in terms of knowing Seymour Hersh, knowing when he covers up, and knowing where he gets the intelligence. So what I'm saying to you and the public is, we have our own ways in the republic to punish those who've punished the people. And you have to have faith that you, Alex, and the audience have had an impact on many elements of our society which you don't know about. And some of them I don't know about, but there are many who I work with and can criticize because this country allows you to criticize as long as you serve it.
That was my next point. That's my next point. Then I want your take on this, then we'll go back to the bin Laden situation. Sure. We'll have you back for a full hour soon if you can do it. StevePieczenik.com, best-selling author, joins us right now, former spy chief, basically, with the State Department. If you pull back from all this, I totally agree with you. I know there's really good camps of people in the Army, in the Navy, in the Marines, across the board. They hate what's happening. I know 2 years ago, General Dempsey, on that Saturday night, went to the White House and said, the military's not going to back an attack to topple Assad, to put al-Qaeda in charge. We're not doing it. So there is, just like Eisenhower warned of the military-industrial complex, he meant the special interest manipulating it. People always ask and say, well, tyranny couldn't come, our military wouldn't put up with it. Well, that's actually true. Our military has been saying no over and over again. That's why these bureaucrats are so angry with it, is that it's not perfect, but compared to them, it's a whole different world. And you're right. I know for a fact when the FBI or the Justice Department subgroups or state police or federal marshals give us documents that turn out to be accurate every time, that burns the police state, it's because they don't like it. And there is a war